Hello. Well, when I heard that Peterson were bringing out a limited edition Dracula pipe for the anniversary of Bram Stoker's Dracula, 125 years since he wrote the book, I thought I'll have to get one. It's a model that they haven't made a Dracula pipe in before, an XL11. This came yesterday. I didn't do a box opening because I'd just come in from work and I didn't want to be bothered, but I really wanted to look at the pipe. Usual story, doing the video one-handed, so I'm struggling. I shall pause it a second. And voila. So, if you've had an XL11 before, you'll know what kind of size they are. They're a big version of the, well, to my mind, they're a big version of the 05s. This one I got from Smoking Pipes EU because there was a lot of variation in the sandblasting and the swirls on the pipe, so I wanted to pick one, and I felt as if probably the best one or two had already been snapped up, but having sort of looked at the ones that were available, I settled on this one. And after I'd picked it and bought it, I noticed it was the same pipe that they were using in the sort of the photograph of the pipes, so they must have also come to the same conclusion that it's a good one. But the same little pipe standers came with the Halloween pipes. So, not as many swirls as I'd like, but enough. You don't want all of them to be absolutely covered. You want a bit of variation. I really like the sandblasting on this side. As I said, if you've got an XL11 you'll know, but if you haven't got one, maybe you've got one of these, a more common pipe, a more popular pipe I should say, is the 03. So you can see, probably not looking at it on the table doesn't seem that big, but when you're actually using the pipe you notice the size a bit more, and this is quite a large pipe. What I was gonna do, but I didn't have time because I'm at work now, I didn't have time this morning to sort this out. I was going to do a comparison with the 05 Dracula pipe that I've got next to it, and also the Halloween pipe. I forget the model, but it's basically the same bowl as the XL11, but it's got, obviously it's a system pipe with a system sort of stem, and I was going to do a comparison with that, put them together, a bit like I'm doing now with this. So yeah, it's one of those things, limited edition. Had to pull the trigger because I thought if I don't buy one, I'm going to regret it. So I sort of snapped one up. And I don't know, with Peterson, sometimes they call something a limited edition, and then if it sells well, they decide to carry on. They did that with the Draculas in the first place, which were 2012 limited editions, and then they became a common thing that they were doing all the time. So that's a possibility, but I don't think they're going to do that this time. I think it is going to be limited edition. How limited? Who knows? Depends how popular it is. What I do find is with pipes this big, they don't really sit in this little pipe holder very well. Whether with a bit of use and wear, this pipe holder becomes a bit more flexible and it sits there better. So at the moment I have to squash it in a little bit for it to hold it properly. But if that was a pipe that I was smoking, it was full of hot embers, I wouldn't trust it to put it in there and leave it unattended. It'll probably drop over and cause a fire. but something like, I think a 003 also, even though it's smaller, it doesn't really fit in there. So I think really these little leather pipe holders, they're only going to be useful with certain pipes, ones with smaller, narrower bowls. So that's that, another acquisition. One of my colleagues at work, when I showed him this, asked how many pipes I'd got, and he was a bit shocked at the amount, and slightly embarrassing to say how many I've got, given that they're not cheap. But as he said, there's plenty of hobbies out there that cost a lot of money. People smoke cigarettes. They will, I think it's something like £10 for a packet of 20, and they'll probably last a day, and by the time they've been smoking all week, that's a fair bit of money they've got through. And what have they got to show for it? An ashtray full of cigarette butts. So at least with this is something that I'm going to have and probably still love years and years from now. So it's not too bad a hobby, but it's like anything. If you've got enough money, it's worth it. But if you haven't got enough money, you just get that little tinge of guilt. But anyway, so I'm going to have to, I haven't smoked it yet, but I'm obviously going to have to get round to putting some tobacco in and taking it for its maiden voyage. Okay guys, I'll speak to you later. Bye bye.